Welcome to the Screening Lounge. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Christy. If you're looking for something that'll grab your attention and won't let you go, then you're definitely in the right place.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, we're covering a little bit of everything from the highs and lows and surprises and snubs from the Golden Globes. And then we'll dive into His and Hers on Netflix, whether it lives up to the hype. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what just went down at the Golden Globes. The Critics' Choice Awards always feels like the unofficial kickoff to the award season, but the Golden Globes is more official to me. And this year was really interesting. The TV side of things was pretty predictable, but the film categories, there were a few surprises.
Yeah, definitely. I think the big surprise for me was the first award of the night, and that was Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. And honestly, this one was tough. I was torn because I really liked Amy Madigan for her role in Weapons, but then we also have Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another. And Amy had just come off a win at Critics' Choice. So I really thought she might take this too, but Teyana Taylor won, and I was so excited. I was genuinely just thrilled for her. Because One Battle After Another is easily in my top 3 movies of 2025. So I absolutely love that. And her performance was so incredible.
Yeah, agreed. That was such a standout moment. I'm so happy for Teyana. Her performance tackles postpartum depression while showing her character as this powerful resistance leader. And she handled all of that with such nuance. And I love some Aunt Gladys,
right?
AKA Amy Madigan. I love Aunt Gladys, and I can't wait for the prequel. But I can't wait to see who wins the SAG Awards and the Oscar for this category.
Definitely. And I think, honestly, because One Battle After Another is such a strong contender, I think Teyana Taylor has a real shot at the Oscar. But, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. And then the next award was the Best Supporting Actor. And this one kind of surprised me, but at the same time, it didn't. Stellan Skarsgård won for Sentimental Value, and it's been getting just a ton of hype. And I've seen it. And while it wasn't my favorite movie, the performances were all really strong. Most of the cast was nominated for a Golden Globe for either acting or supporting acting category. So that really says a lot.
Yeah, he's one of those actors who makes every project just better because he's in it. But he hasn't really gotten that award recognition for his role. So finally seeing him get that moment, absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And what I keep wondering now is, what does this win mean going forward? Could he win the Oscar? Especially since he wasn't even nominated for a SAG award, which just kind of proves once again that anything can happen during the award season. I love that he mentions in his acceptance speech about seeing cinema in cinemas, which, I don't know, that just stuck with me. As we move into the drama categories, one thing that we've talked about before is that the Golden Globes split film and TV into both a drama category and then musical or comedy category. So sometimes the category placement doesn't totally make sense. We've said this over and over again about The Bear being a comedy. That'll never not confuse me, but that's just the system. It is what it is. So supporting actor and supporting actress are the only categories that aren't split. So now that we're in full drama territory, let's talk about the best performance by a female actor in a drama. This one went to Jessie Buckley. Going into this, I was pretty confident that she would be the winner. Although, Sentimental Values had a lot of talk. There was a part of me that kind of thought that maybe Renata Reinsve would win, but Jessie also won the Critics' Choice. And now, I just kind of have this feeling she might sweep the award season.
I still need to see Hamnet. I hear so many great things about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a feel-good movie because it is very emotional and has some kind of sad themes, but she was fantastic in it. Then we have Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Drama went to Wagner Moura. And I'll be honest, I really thought maybe Michael B. Jordan would win. I was kind of hoping he would win for playing the twins, Smoke a Stack and Sinners. And I didn't really think anyone could beat his performance. But that being said, I haven't seen The Secret Agent, full disclosure there. So I really can't argue with the result. I do keep hearing about how great it is. So I'm choosing to just trust the voters on this one. I do want to see it before the Academy Awards because it feels like it really could be a major contender.
He beat out several heavy hitters that are well known in this category in a foreign language film. that hasn't widely been seen yet. So it's exciting for other international films to kind of get that recognition. And that's what I love about awards season. Like these moments that remind us, pay attention to everything that's out there because we always discover something new. I was thinking about Parasite when it started winning all these awards against like big movies. And now we see something like this happening as well. So good for foreign films.
Yeah, definitely. And Parasite was so good. Loved it.
Yes.
So now let's talk about Best Motion Picture Drama. And I was rooting hard for Sinners, but I also knew Hamnet had a very strong chance. And I really like both films just for completely different reasons. But for me, between the originality and the music and the performances, I thought Sinners was kind of the clear winner. But that being said, Hamnet took this prize, and I'm really happy for Chloe Zhao and everyone who's involved. I was kind of wondering if it won because it's more of a traditional drama. I don't know, just a thought.
So next we have like the cinematic and box office achievement, which Sinners won. And this is relatively a new category. Some people see it as a consolation prize, but I actually understand like its purpose. Films like Barbie and Wicked or Avatar don't always fit neatly into these traditional prestigious kind of categories, yet their cultural impact is undeniable. So I get it.
Yeah, and Sinners did win box office achievement, which I was thrilled about. And it also won a Best Original Score. I will say, I was a little annoyed that they didn't even televise that category. And maybe I'm just biased because Sinners is one of my favorite films and it won, but still, why not show that?
Yeah, the award happened during the commercial break and understandably, it did not sit well with a lot of people, especially other composers, because music is like the foundation of all cinema. Scores existed before the spoken dialogue in film. They shape the emotion and the tension in a scene. So to relegate that category off air while highlighting other categories like best podcast, it felt like a misstep of priorities because this is a film and television award show.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you on this. I mean, like you said, music, the foundation, it's the heart of the film. And so that category really needs to be included in the televised ceremony.
And Hans Zimmer, who is like a modern composer of scoring for major films like Gladiator, Inception, Dune, Dark Knight, and so many others, he was so vocal about it, and rightly so. When artists like Zimmer speak up, it's not about ego, it's about advocacy for the craft. So hopefully the Golden Globes takes that feedback really seriously next year. I did love Amy Poehler winning for Best Podcast with Good Hang. This is the first time this category has been awarded at the Golden Globes. Amy is funny. She just is. Like, she makes that show work and it never feels like performative. Like, it genuinely feels like you're sitting down around friends, laughing, sometimes oversharing, and occasionally like stumbling into something meaningful without trying so hard. Another podcast I loved in that category was the Mel Robbins podcast, which is totally different. It's more structured, more about self-help and self-love. And she's excellent at what she does, like very thoughtful. But the rest of the nominees felt like, just a regular celebrity interview shows that you've seen before. Good Hang is, warmer, feels more loose, like more real.
Yeah, I was hoping Good Hang would win, and I've only listened to it here and there, but I do love Amy Poehler, and she just seems very sincere and authentic with all of her guests.
That said, this is where things got complicated for me. Like, the best podcast category was televised, while the original score wasn't. So I'm kind of torn with seeing that new category presented.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's not movie or television, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes moving forward. So now we're going to switch gears to the comedy or musical categories. And so best performance by a female actor went to Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And this is another one I still haven't been able to see. It only played in a handful of theaters and then it didn't stick around very long. I have seen clips of her performance though, and I really do want to see it. But this was a really stat category with people like Cynthia Erivo and Chase Infinity and Emma Stone, just to name a few.
Yeah, that was an interesting category. I did like her acceptance speech when she was saying that her husband wasn't there because he was buying a bearded dragon or something.
Yes, she did have a really good speech.
It was hilarious, and she looked so surprised.
And then we had Best Performance by a Male Actor, which went to Timothée Chalamet. And honestly, I think he's just in his era right now. I mean, he was incredible in A Complete Unknown last year, and then he followed that up with another fantastic performance in Marty Supreme this year. And even though this was really a stat category too, I mean, I don't feel like that was a surprising win. At this point, I kind of feel like he might sweep the rest of the award season for this category too.
I'm curious to see what other actors think during the SAG Awards. So we'll see what happens.
And so then we had Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. And this one went to One Battle After Another, one of the ones that we really loved last year. And again, not a huge surprise. There were some great nominees in this category, but I think after seeing Teyana Taylor win earlier in the night, I kind of had a feeling that this was coming. So plus it just feels like this film has the broadest appeal in the category. Oh, we also had Best Motion Picture Non-English Language. Now, this one went to The Secret Agent, which we talked about that with the Best Actor category in a motion picture drama. And again, I haven't seen this one, but what's interesting, this was one of 3 international films that were nominated for this category for the non-English language film, but also for Best Motion Picture Drama. So the only one I've seen out of these so far has been Sentimental Value. So I still want to catch Secret Agent, and it was just an accident. I've heard great things about both. And we'll see how they do when it's time for, some of the other award shows. We also had Best Director, and this is another one of those categories that's combined and it's not split into 2 categories like with drama and musical and comedy. So there were some amazing nominees in this category too. And I was kind of hoping for a Sinners win with Ryan Coogler, but Paul Thomas Anderson, who directed One Battle After Another, won. And he also won for Best Screenplay. So, you can't be too mad because we love that movie too.
PTA, who you'll hear people refer to him as, like Paul Thomas Anderson, I knew he would win for Best Director. But I expected Sinners to win at least Best Screenplay because how boldly that film reimagines the horror genre. But still, PTA is one of the most respected filmmakers working today. So even when it's surprising, it still kind of makes sense.
Yeah, he's amazing too. So happy for him. Now, let's get to the television awards. And, I don't think there were any huge surprises there. Danielle and I, we both agreed that the big winners there were going to be The Pit and The Studio, and we were right.
Yeah, there weren't many shockers. Everything else pretty much landed how we expected.
Right. I mean, The Pit won Best Television Series Drama. And of course, Dr. Robbie, Noah Wyle, won Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Television Series Drama. And then with the other drama awards, we had Best Performance by a Female Actor. That was Rhea Seehorn from one of our favorite shows, Pluribus. And then The Studio won Best Television Series, Musical or Comedy. Again, not a surprise. And of course, it's not a surprise that Seth Rogen also won for Best Performance by a Male Actor in the musical or comedy for that show. The best performances by a female actress for a comedy went to Jean Smart for her role in Hacks. And I feel like she's just been on a roll with a lot of these awards. I mean, I feel like they're all well-deserved, but she just keeps winning one after the other. And then we, of course, have to mention the limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television category. And that one was a really stat category, but I don't think we were surprised that the big winner in this category was Adolescence because it picked up Best Performance by a Male Actor for Stephen Graham. Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role went to Erin Doherty. And then Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role went to Owen Cooper.
Yeah, that was no surprise. Like, that movie is so good. It has won every award since the Emmy that it was nominated in. So no surprise there.
Yeah, definitely. It was great. Then we also have Best Performance by a Female Actor who went to Michelle Williams for the series Dying for Sex.
Okay, now that was the moment that made me pause because, Michelle Williams wasn't even in my thoughts of winning an award. I forgot she was even nominated. I thought this award was heading straight to Sarah Snook for All Her Fault. Michelle Williams taking it was a little bit unexpected for me, but full transparency, I did not see the series, so I can't fully assess the performance. That said, I know Williams, she never does anything less than phenomenal, with the exception of Venom. But now I'm intrigued to kind of watch the series to see what it's all about.
Yeah, I admit I haven't watched it either, but I wasn't super surprised about this win because I've been reading so many great reviews about her performance. She had nominations for an Emmy, for Critics' Choice, but hadn't had any wins. And so, that being said, Sarah Snook was also really amazing in All Her Fault. So, it had to have been close. Now, next up, we do have BAFTA Film Awards coming up on February 16th, so that's pretty quick. And then we have the SAG Awards, which now are known as the Actor Awards, on Sunday, March 1st. And the voting just began this week for the Academy Awards, which is going to air on March 15th. So we'll be sure to kind of remind everyone about those as we get closer.
So I gave everyone a homework assignment last week to watch His and Hers on Netflix. So this is a psychological thriller with a little whodunit type of edge to it. Tessa Thompson plays Anna, a high-profile TV reporter who returns to her hometown after a murder shakes the community. And then John Bernthal plays her husband, Jack, a local cop still deeply rooted in the town that they grew up in. Now, when the investigation starts, everyone becomes a suspect, including them. This is one of those films where you think you figured it out early on, and my instincts were right mostly. But the real strength of the film is what it saves for the very end. That end twist was amazing. So if it had ended 5 to 10 minutes earlier, I still would have called it a solid watch. But that final twist took the series to another level. At its core, it's a story about buried secrets and identity and the stories we tell ourselves to survive.
I have an incomplete on my homework assignment, teacher.
God.
I'm sorry. But I have been hearing all the buzz about the twists and turns. I've seen people post online, so I'm trying not to read anything. So I can't wait to finish it and see what happens.
Now, this isn't the level of All Her Fault, but it doesn't need to be. It's well acted, it's engaging, and definitely worth a watch. That's a wrap on this episode of The Screening Lounge. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
If you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us out.
If you want even more recommendations of what to watch, read, or listen to next, then follow us on Instagram at The Screening Lounge.
Can't wait to see you next time.